If I had $1,000,000, if I had $1,000,000, well, I really wouldn't be able to do much because $1,000,000 isn't a lot of money now these days. Anyway, welcome to Toon'd In. I'm Josh the Fox Mills, and this is Money Month. This month on Toon'd In, I'm going to review cartoons based around the almighty dollar. No matter how new, no matter how old, no matter the cost. I start off with a kid who cares nothing for the cost of things. Young Donald Trump. I'm kidding. I mean the boy with the $1,000,000 allowance, Richie Rich. He might be wealthy, but he's still a Hanna-Barbarian.
Ha! Hoo! Ha! Row, raggy!
Come back after the credits for the animated series for the richest boy in the world, Richie Rich. Based off of the Harvey comic of the same name, Richie Rich was a good old Saturday morning cartoon produced by the Hanna-Barbera Animation Studios. It ran on ABC from 1980 to 1984 with 40 episodes. This series showed the adventures of Richie Rich and his friends. There is a slight difference between the comic as Richie is depicted as older in this series, and suggests that this series might be a sequel to the original comics. All the classic characters are in this series. Richie Rich, of course. It'd be kind of weird to not have him in his own show. Richie's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rich. Parents existing to do parent stuff, you know, boring things. Professor Keenbean, the Rich family's personal scientist. Since you know, rich people need scientists.
Maybe you don't understand just how rich he is. In fact, I think I better put on a monocle.
Fair enough, moving on. Reggie Van Doe. A bit of a rival and relative to Richie. He tends to be mean so he can get his comeuppance for a laugh. Gloria Glad, best friend and possible girlfriend to Richie. In this series, she is voiced by Bart Simpson herself, Nancy Cartwright. Irona, the robot maid, an invention of the professor, and in this series it suggests she's also a personal bodyguard for Richie. A robot maid bodyguard. What an interesting idea. I wonder if anyone's done that. And of course, Dollar the dog, the Rich family pet. Let's see, an animal in an 80s cartoon, so he must be voiced by Frank Welker. Yes, I knew it! The show had no problem jumping the gold-plated shark in a diamond-encrusted swimming pool while riding a ruby motorcycle that ran off $1,000 bills. From a haunting of the Rich Manor to finding a genie, episodes were just one crazy adventure after another. I remember one episode. Robbers stole Dollar the dog, a one-of-a-kind Dalmatian with dollar sign-shaped spots, and was trying to sell the dog to the Rich family, pretending that it is a whole new dog. There is so much wrong with that plan. Dollar would be more than a little distinct, and would have been trained by the Rich family, which the dog would have immediately identified. Also, Dollar is semi-sentient in this cartoon, and would be able to expose these thieves easily. Lastly, you are trying to mess with the richest and most powerful people on the planet who could make you vanish, perhaps even literally, because they hired a mad scientist and the law would not even notice. You are dumb. That is a dumb plan. You and your plan are really, really dumb.
You are made of stupid.
Good thing the Rich family is really nice, especially Richie. That's one of Richie's best features. His heart is as golden as his everything else. This is why a live-action Richie Rich series on Netflix failed as badly as it did. They chose to give Richie a modern, spoiled, millennial punk kid attitude, which makes Richie a terrible person we don't want to get to know or like. Even the live-action Macaulay Culkin movie kept Richie as a nice guy who saw the value of friends being of higher value than his own affluence. They also decided to make Arona some kind of sexy android, which for a kids' comedy series is unappealing. Well, any version of Richie Rich, actually. I don't want to talk about the Netflix series anymore. It's time for my final thoughts.
What does the fox say?
The Hanna-Barbera Richie Rich stays pretty true to its original comic. Even the off-the-wall adventures are often pulled right from the pages. The characters are likable and in-depth. Even Reggie, who's the closest thing to a regular villain, has his good points, and can be liked just as easily as any of the other regular cast. Like the comic before it, the writers were very creative with what you could do with practically unlimited money. It's a fun series, and the Hanna-Barbera style of comedy does shine through on occasion. That can be a good thing, depending on your taste. I liked it, and can have some fun with it. Maybe you can too. Next week, I see what 3 cats can do with a massive fortune they don't deserve, with Cat Scratch. Until then, stay tuned.